When we blow the shofar on Rosh Hashanah, we say a line, a pasuk from Tehillim, from Psalms, Ashrei ha'am yodei srua. Praiseworthy is the nation that understands the trua sound. And that teaches us that there's a mitzvah to blow shofar on Rosh Hashanah. There's a mitzvah to hear the sounds of the shofar on Rosh Hashanah. And ideally, we should also understand the significance of the sounds that we blow on Rosh Hashanah. Now, there are two shofar sounds that are mentioned specifically in the Torah. One is called tekiah, and the other is called trua. The Ramban says that the source of the meaning of these two sounds is not found in relation to Rosh Hashanah. It's found in a completely different context. In the Parsha Baloscha, near the beginning of the book of Bamidbar, the fourth book of the Torah, which is describing the Jewish people at the beginning of their traveling through the desert for 40 years after they're leaving Egypt until they get to Israel. So they have to set up the organization of their camp. And one of the things a great campment with lots and lots of people needs is a communication system. And Hashem commands that they should set up a communication system based on using chatzotros. Chatzotros are silver trumpets, so it's not a shofar exactly, it's made out of silver, but the Torah tells how these instruments are to be used to communicate with the entire people. So listen please to these psukim. The Torah says, again this is in Bamidbar, V'hayu lecha limikra ha'edah u'lemasa es hamachanos. There are two purposes for these trumpets to be sounded with different signals. One is limikra ha'edah, to gather together the congregation for a message, to study, for some other purpose. And the other is lemasa es hamachanos, in order to start the journey towards battle. So the Torah says like this: V'siku bahen, you will blow a tekiah, v'noadu elecha kol ha'eda el pesach ha'amoed. When you hear the tekiah sound, that's the message. Everybody gather to ground. Everybody come close. There's a message. Everybody come close and gather around. That's the tekiah. V'chisavo milchama ba'aretzachem, al atzar atzarereschem. But when it is time to go to battle, to go to war against an enemy, v'harei osem, you shall blow the trua sound. Now the Torah says what appears to be repetitious, ubahakhil es hakahol, but when you gather together the congregation, tisku, blow the tekiah, v'lo tariu, but do not blow the trua. You see that these two sounds are different sounds, and you see that they are mutually exclusive. Finally, the pasuk says, Ubiyom simchaschem, uv'moadechem, tiskatem, you should blow the tekiah. On the day of your rejoicing, on the holidays, blow the tekiah. Says the Ramban, the two sounds, tekiah and trua, have different meanings. Trua is a sound of war. It's a sound of danger, perhaps punishment, judgment. And that is why our sages explained the trua sound is meant to imitate crying or moaning. Tekiah, the signal for gathering, is a sign that is meant to be unifying. It is rejoicing. It's a sign of love and compassion. And it is a straight, powerful sound. Okay, so just to demonstrate The tkiya is one straight, strong sound, and listen for the emotion of it. It's confident, it's positive. Tkiya goes like this. That's the tkiya. Now, the trua is a sound of fear and vulnerability and brokenness. Now, this gets just a touch complicated, but I know you're going to be able to follow it along. Our rabbis in the Talmud have 3 different opinions what sound is the trua sound. Now, if I was doing this, I would have said the 3 sounds are trua A, trua B, and trua C, which would have made it clear that all 3 of these are an opinion about what the trua is. Instead, what our rabbis chose, they call one of these sounds shavarim, one of these sounds is called trua, and one of these sounds is called shavarim trua, both words together. Now, notwithstanding the fact that shavarim is a completely different word, and trua is the word that is in the Torah, and shvarim and trua are together, these are simply 3 different opinions about what the trua is. So, opinion number 1 about what the trua is this sound that we now call shvarim. We call that shvarim. That's one opinion about what the trua is. Second opinion about what the trua is what we actually call trua. Goes like this. And then this third opinion about what is the correct trua sound is both shvarim, trua. And it goes like this. Okay. So, first of all, notice the pattern that we blow on Rosh Hashanah. Because remember, the word trua is the only word that is mentioned explicitly in connection with Rosh Hashanah. Yom Trua Yeh Lochem. So explicitly the Torah only commands us to blow trua. And trua, as we saw, our rabbis explain, is the sound of crying. Well, if it's the shvarim, it's more like a moaning type of crying. If it is the trua, the staccato sound, it's more like a sobbing kind of a crying. And if it's shvarim trua, it's both. It's moaning and sobbing together. But please notice the pattern that we use to blow shofar on Rosh Hashanah. You may remember this, and when you follow it along in your machzor on Rosh Hashanah, it will be obvious. We always blow the following sounds in a line. And the line always goes like this. Tekiya, something in the middle, tekiya. Now the something in the middle is one of those 3 opinions. It's either the shvarim or the trua or the shvarim trua, but it's always bracketed by a tekiya first and a tekiya after. So again, tekiya, something in the middle that is supposed to be one of the 3 opinions about the trua, and then tekiya at the end. And the reason for that is that the sound of the shofar on Rosh Hashanah is a prayer. It's a prayer without words. It's a prayer before words. The mitzvah of blowing shofar on Rosh Hashanah, which is explicitly the mitzvah to blow the trua sound, it's the sound of a broken heart. We come before God on Rosh Hashanah with intense honesty, and we come before God on Rosh Hashanah with our faults, with our mistakes, with our deficiencies. We come before Rosh Hashanah, before God on Rosh Hashanah, with what is broken in us. Because before God there can be only honesty. Rabbi Nachman of Bratslav said, there is nothing so whole as a broken heart. And then we blow the shofar. And so as we blow the shofar, we should be listening for the different sounds of a broken heart and the emotion that is being expressed. And for each of us has different kinds of brokenness that may be reflected by all three of the opinions of what a trua is, or maybe at any given moment we will identify more closely with one of the three sounds that reflects the kind of brokenness and deficiency that we feel within ourselves. But notice, trua is in the middle, but there's always a tekiah on the beginning and always a tekiah at the end. We envelop the trua with the tekiah on other side as a prayer, again, without words, a prayer of pure sound, a prayer that comes before words, for God to straighten that which is bent in us, for God to soothe our crying, for God to show us compassion in the face of our shortcomings. I saw this once on Facebook. I've shown it to some of you before. This is the perfect expression of the emotional journey we are supposed to be taking through each line of hearing the shofar. I'll try to hold it up to see if you can see it. There's a solid pencil that is yesterday. Today is a broken pencil. Tomorrow there are two smaller solid pencils. That's what shofar is. It recognizes that there's a brokenness, but it envelops on either side God's mercy and compassion to fix that brokenness, to straighten that, to show compassion for our shortcomings. When we blow the shofar, we say this line, Ashrei ha'am yodei seruah, praiseworthy is a nation that understands the trua. When we blow the shofar, we should listen to the sounds. Yes, that's the first level. But we should also listen to the emotion of each one of the sounds. And what message are we conveying through our prayer of sound with that sound? And we should also pay particular attention to the order in which the sounds are blown. There's a tekiah. There's something in the middle that is worrisome and broken and deficient and vulnerable. But then there's always a tekiah on the end. And that's our prayer to God to fix the brokenness, to have compassion, to straighten us out. That is the essence of our prayer through the blowing of shofar. And now just to put it all together. My friends, I wish you a great day, and I look forward to seeing all of you soon in person.